For those who don't know, let's start there. Who's Duece Biggie?
Duece Biggie is a kid from Chicago who was heavily influenced, by my brother and his friends, the people around, and they were heavy into listening to hip hop, and I became intrigued by hearing all this different music. It was a wide melting pot of all kind of music, East Coast, West Coast, South, and I took to that. I took to the music, and I was very intrigued by it. At first, I was just really a fan, but later on in life, it started to dawn on me that it was part of my calling.
Now you mentioned your brother is how you first got into music. Is he into music? Is that who you think would have inspired you?
No, they wasn't into music at all. They just listened to a lot of music. It was just part of the culture. It was just part of the energy, the fabric. They were the first kids when hip hop came into play. They were around for the beginning of, early 90s, late 90s. They were listening to all the, top music at that time. And because I was always wanting to run up under them and be like them and look up to them, I, you know, caught wind of the music and
Mm-hmm.
it made an impression on me.
Awesome. So, what was some of the music that they were listening to? Some that really made an impression on you to say, "Man, I want to get into music."
Big, for sure. Pac, Jay, Nas, X, Scarface, M, um, Q, NWA, all music from all over.
Mm-hmm.
I dibbled and dabbled in all of it through them. Cause they used to have this thing like where you could get 10 CDs for a I don't know, 10 CDs for it's something like that.
Like
Ten
a
CDs for a dollar or
dollar,
something.
yeah.
It was some wild thing. Little
Mm-hmm.
brochures used to come in the mail, and my brother he had it, so he used to have this big CD book, and he would order 10 CDs at a time. So he would get all the music from everywhere in hip hop, at least to just check it out to see if he liked it. Most times,
Right.
stuff like that. So
Now I'm a Duece Biggie fan, and I actually noticed that the first name that on your fan list was Biggie. I've always been curious on your name. Is your name paying homage to him by any way? How
of
did you come up
course,
with your name?
most definitely, it got a big thing. It's a it's a big thing with my name and where it come from when it comes to him, um, because he was the one that initially inspired me on another level in music, and it's weird, but we have a lot of coincidences and a lot of our lives align the same way, even how we grew up, even our culture, as far as his mother was Jamaican, my mom was Jamaican. We got the same name. Uh, it's just a lot of different coincidences. And people used to call me that before I was ready to embrace it. They used to call me Biggie Smalls, and all this other stuff and stuff like that. So at some point, I just began to embrace it on another level.
Mm, okay. Now, how would you describe the music you typically create?
I would describe the music that I make as it's really just authentic to who I am and my surroundings that I grew up in and the people who I grew up around and who I learned things from and who I soak game from. It yeah.
Now, you're from Chicago. Does your I've listened to your album, I've listened to your music. Does where you grew up, your neighborhood, does that have correlate with your music?
It definitely correlates with my music. It's everything. Everything in my music is the DNA of my neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
is in there. Um, because everything that I talk about is instances and things that I grew up around that I either witnessed or I was a part of firsthand, or I had some type of involvement in it, or I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Or
Yeah.
these are things that I seen in front of me. So yeah.
Right. Now, I don't expect all your tricks, but what does your creative process look like?
Basically, I find a beat, and if it speaks to me, words instantly start forming in my head,
Mm-hmm.
and I start mumbling stuff and things of that nature, and I just keep playing, it back. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I just may come up with 2 bars here, 4 bars here, 6 more here, and I just keep building on that until I got a verse, and I keep building on that verse until I get a hook, and then I keep, if I'm gonna put somebody on a song, then I leave that space free, but far as what I come up with on it, I'm just gonna keep playing it back. I don't write my rhymes down, but I memorize my rhymes in my head,
Mm-hmm.
and I formulate them in my head, and I freestyle and play with it until I get what I want out of it.
Right. Right. I was gonna say it sounds like you don't write anything, so this is all in your head, just off of listening
Um,
to a beat.
yes,
Wow.
well, I used to write when I was very young,
Mm-hmm.
probably like when I was like 12 or 13, but by the time I was 18, I had stopped writing. I had start just formulating words because it would come out easier that way, and it would be I learned how to ride the beat that way
Mm-hmm.
better than opposed to me writing something and then trying to stick it onto a beat and trying to read off the paper.
Yeah.
It sound like you're reading off the
Right.
paper. So
It was more authentic to that moment.
yes,
Yeah.
but what made me begin to do it is because I heard that Big didn't write his rhymes. I heard Jay didn't write his. And I just wanted to test myself to see if I can do it. And it just became a part of my regular routine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just built it on and I got better and better at it. And to the point where it just became what I do, and it just became part of my fabric. I learned that more of my music came out authentically that way because I was speaking from the heart instead of trying to come up with and make up something to put on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I started doing that, people started feeling the music way more.
Mm-hmm.
So it just became a part of my DNA.
Okay. How long have you been doing music? You mentioned at 12 you was, writing a little bit, but how long have you really been doing music?
At first, how I got into music was very. It started off as a joke. It started off as me, because when you grow up in the hood, it's like everything you try to ridicule everything. You try to joke about everything. You think that this person they can't rap, or you know what I'm saying. So it was like some guys from my neighborhood, they were rapping, and I was clowning them. I was like, man, y'all can't rap and this, that, and that thing and the third. And they was like, if we can't rap, then why don't you show us if you could do better? But see, the thing was, before then, I used to be, shout out to Mike, in Miami. I used to be in, because I was there for a short period of time, um, staying with one of my sisters because I couldn't pull everything together in school. I used to get distracted. And my mom sent me to be with my sister for a little while. She was living in Dade County or whatever. And I had met some friends. One guy was from New York. His name was Mike, and his dad had bought him turntables. So he had turntables, and he had Fat Joe instrumentals and other instrumentals, music from the late '90s and early 2000s, and he would put these instrumentals on and we would just be freestyling, trying to freestyle, but it wasn't nothing serious. It wasn't something that I knew I was going to get into, but I had that background in me from listening to a lot of hip hop through my brother and his friends or whatever the case may be. And because of that, I didn't know that I was preparing myself for this particular moment when I was clowning these dudes saying that they couldn't rap, and they put me on the spot and said, all right, well, let's see what you can do. And when I freestyled some stuff, the guy was like, man, it's actually good. He was like, you should start coming with us because we be going to the studio, we be recording. And this was my first introduction to recording anything or even trying to really be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So when he told me that, it gave me the reassurance that I could probably do it. And I was just like, dang, because I was already so infatuated with Ready to Die and Reasonable Doubt and these type of albums. And I was like, well, I want to make stuff like that then, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because a lot of it was my environment. So that day, the guy told me that my music I was actually good, that I should start coming to the studio with them. That's when the sparked, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's when I start looking at it as something that I can do.
And how old were you around then?
I was 14 around then. Yeah.
Wow. So now let's fast forward. In October 2023, you dropped your debut album, Dying to Live. Tell me about the feeling. How was that feeling? You know, you said from 14 to now in October 2023, we ain't gonna tell your age, but how does that feel? How does that feel to finally drop your debut album?
Man, it felt good. It felt good just to release an album and just to put my hard work into something, because a lot of times over the years I didn't take it as serious as I should have, and I was more so interested in the street stuff because music wasn't paying me at this time or whatever. So I didn't take it as serious. I would dibble and dabble in it. I always stay a part of it. I always made verses and put on other people's songs and did songs with people. And you know, when I met the guy that day or whatever that I ended up spitting for, we went in and recorded a compilation album right away. And I knew that I got the reassurance from others in the world that I was nice, you know, through that. But like I said, I still didn't take it as serious as I should have, because I just thought it was so far-fetched. But as time went on, I realized that I could plateau at a higher ceiling, you know, so I just started taking it way more serious or whatever. And I would always make a bunch of songs but never have an album or never have a full mixtape or never put out a whole project by myself, you know what I'm saying? I would always band with people and we would do things, but that was my first time really stepping out on my own and really putting my hard work into it and really putting a whole project together. So it meant a whole lot to me.
Yeah. Now that album is an amazing album. I feel like that album really tells your story. Out of all the songs on that album, which song do you think summarizes your story in one song? Which song on that album
summarizes my story? Man, they all my babies. They all a part of my story. It's like I'm talking about so many wide array of things. But I would say a song that mostly maybe tells my story, I would have to go with Song Cry. I would have to go with Song Cry. Yeah, that was one of the songs that I really let my vulnerability show, and I really let my guards down on it. But an honorable mention I would say also is Road Rage because
Mm-hmm.
it was reflective
Yeah.
on where I've been and where I came to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now I really like the song LLDG or Long Live the Guys. How do you feel like your environment, your homies, the friends that you have seen, who you grew up with, how do you feel like they've impacted your career?
I feel like they impacted my career heavily because they the ones who I talk about. They the ones who was in the trenches with me. They were the ones who I witnessed here one day and gone the next day. They the ones that showed me the lessons that I had to learn and to realize how short life is. And I also, just picked up on their movements, things that they did, things that they didn't do. Um, yeah, they a big part of me. They a big part of my music because they the ones that gave me the stories to talk about. They the ones that gave me the subject matter. They the ones that gave me they are part of my story.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to music, what's the best advice you've been given? And also,
Um,
what advice could you give to an artist like yourself?
the best advice that was given to me that I can think of is just keep going because things don't never happen overnight. Sometimes uh, someone else's journey is not your journey, and you just gotta stay focused and you just gotta believe. Believing is the biggest thing of it. You have to manifest these things. You have to put your all into it. You can't do music, sports, or anything that is rewarded and give it 50%. You have to give it 100%. You have to go overboard. You have to believe when nobody believes because nobody knows what you are, what you can become until you become it. Because it's hard for them to envision you being this superstar or this person that could break through a barrier that only a small percentage of people can get through.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in ways it kind of can be unbelievable to them, and
Yeah.
they can overlook your talents, and they could not see it, because only you can really see the vision
Mm-hmm.
until you show them what the vision looks like.
Yeah. There's so many talented people, and we don't even know that they exist.
Yeah.
So, if you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be?
I would change how people gatekeep. I would change um, the way how people. It's like they the egos they get real. They get ego drunk a lot of times. A lot of people, um, and they don't want to see you where they at. They want you a little under them, or you know, or you can't look like you need a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you need a favor, they don't want to give you a favor. But honestly, as black people in this culture, we should be pulling each other up instead of trying to keep people out of the door. We
Yeah.
should be trying to pull each other up if we deserve that shot. I mean, everybody don't have the talent level to do this, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the people that do, it's people that will know you got the talent and be a little insecure about letting you get any shine or letting you get an opportunity or just you don't want to crack that door because you look at them as competition.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we should all be trying to pull each other up
Mm-hmm.
instead of looking at each other as ops or enemies. Like it's like what Pac was saying. Like we gotta start looking at each other as brothers instead of distant strangers. You know what I'm saying? We should be trying to pull each other up. We should be trying to promote each other. But it's hard to get people to get on board with what you're doing unless it looks beneficial to them.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I'm a huge fan of the album Dying to Live, and I noticed that a lot of your collaborations were artists that I never heard of. And to piggyback off of that last answer, is that why you collaborate with certain people? You're trying to bring awareness?
Because I only could collaborate people on a level that I really know them.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning like I'm not the type of guy that just get on songs with people that I don't know. Or, cause my music is more so authentic to me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I, and I collaborate with people. I want to get the best song.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just put somebody on there because they got clout. I want to put somebody on there who I know they're gonna bring something special, something different than I could bring to the song. And I want it to be authentic as possible. I don't want to just, a lot of the rappers in the game, they'll, link up with people that they really don't like or they really don't, rock with like that. But the people that I put on my album would be people that I really rock with. Mm-hmm. It's people that I really feel like they real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I feel like they not just making up stuff and putting it on my song. They giving stuff that's authentic to the song.
Yeah. You're definitely special, Duece Biggie. So, last question. What's next for you?
What's next for me is my second act, meaning like it's time for me to make a follow-up to Dying to Live. It's time for me to come back with something that that's gonna be just as scorching as that, because it's like it's pressure on me to deliver at the same level. Mm-hmm. And I don't plan on letting nobody down. I know what I possess, and I'm gonna wear that. I'm gonna always put my best foot forward, and I'm gonna give everybody who's listening, even if it's just one fan, mm-hmm. I'm gonna give them every ounce of realness in me. I'm gonna give them every ounce of determination and dedication. I'm gonna give them what they looking for. If you trying to get through a tough time, if you trying to party, whatever it is, whatever mood it is, whatever knowledge that I can give, I'm gonna put every ounce of it into my next album. And I'm gonna just keep on hitting them over the head. I'm gonna keep dropping singles. I'm gonna keep shooting videos. I'm gonna keep doing interviews. I'm gonna keep hitting platforms.
You're gonna keep working.
I'm gonna be unstoppable.